What's going on, guys? Do me a giant favor, comment chain to be featured in the next video, but I'm gonna hook you guys up with the top 5 best Modern Warfare 2 loadouts that you guys are gonna use. Trust me, you're gonna want to use every single one of these because they're all fantastic in their own aspect. We're gonna start out with the Cronen Squall just because it's the newest weapon and I do want to go in depth with it. So we can alternate it a tiny bit, but this is the base version that I think everybody will do good with. So we start out with the HR 6.8 barrel for the damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy at the cost of some aim down sight speed, hip recoil control, and movement speed. Set the damage range to 0.25 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.35 pounds, and then put on the Schleger Peck Box IV. Now, you put the aim down sight speed to negative 26.32 feet, and then the weight to negative 16 ounces for sprint to fire speed. Now don't worry if you don't get it exactly on there, but try to get it as close as possible. Next, we're gonna put on the Slimline Pro, put it to the far distance, put on the X10 grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of some recoil control. You don't have to tune this, you can leave the width alone, but for the weight, increase it by 0.77 ounces for recoil steadiness. Last but not least, I put on the Phase 3 grip for aiming out stability, hip fire accuracy, and recoil stabilization at the cost of walking speed and aim down sight speed. I did not change the length, but I changed the weight by 0.41 ounces for recoil stabilization. Now this is the end product and I'm sure you guys will really enjoy it. Really easy to use, and as you guys see, it actually melts incredibly fast. Now there are some alternatives and I'll show you right now. So what you can do is if you want more bullets, you can take up the Schleger Peck Box and you can either put on the 30 or 50 round drum. With the 50 round drum, you are going to be a bit slower than the 30. The 30, you're going to get about 10 more bullets. So if you think it's worth it for the cons, feel free. But if you don't want any of those, and if you just want an increase of, say, I don't know, some accuracy, then you can take off the Schleger once again. And you can throw on like some sort of muzzle, whether it's a Polar Fire S, the Echelon GSX, or something along those lines. If you don't want to do that, I'm pretty sure there is one stock that actually helps, and that's the B66 pad for aiming stability and recoil control. The downside is you do lose aim walking speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed, and crouch movement speed. So do weigh your options for this. Next, we're moving on to the pro-issued Vaznev 9K. Now this is just a Vaznev 9K. There's nothing special about this variant. It's all about what the attachments are. So I put on the X10 RR40. This is for sound suppression, bullet velocity, damage range, and recoil smoothness at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. Now, I set the bullet velocity to 0.48 inches and I did not change the weight. Some people may be surprised by that, but trust me, this is all you need. Next, put on the FSS shark fin. As you guys see, there's no tuning. That's because I don't really think it's necessary. Now, if you do want to tune it, you can increase the aiming out stability, but you really don't have to. I also left, as you guys see, the recoil stabilization and aim down sight speed alone. If you guys want to mess with that, you can. I just don't really think you need to. Put on the true tack grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of some recoil control, and set the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.16 inches. I also increased the recoil steadiness by 0.03 ounces. Basically, doesn't really change it that much, but if you want to increase it, you can. Last but not least, I put on the Vaznev stock for aim walking speed and sprint speed. I did not change the length, but I decreased the weight by negative 3.23 ounces for aim down sight speed. And here's the end product. Now, you guys can throw on an ammunition if you guys want to. I don't really think it's necessary, but as you guys see, this thing is really good. Long range is probably the only downside. Like, you're probably gonna have to burst fire, but I will show you if you guys actually do want to throw on, I don't know, maybe overpressured, then you can increase the bullet velocity. As you guys see, the recoil steadiness goes down a little bit as you increase the bullet velocity, so try not to go too crazy with that. Try to keep it around, I guess, the 250 range. And then damage range, if you want to mess with that too, you can, but I don't really think that's necessary. And then, as you guys see, you'll just get some more bullet velocity. Doesn't really do too much until you're actually in game, and you'll get more better hit reg, so completely up to you whatever you want to do with it. Next, we're moving on to the Lachmann sub, and this thing is incredible. So I have a very fast speed build, and I'm compensating the speed by putting on a good muzzle. Now we can also throw on an underbarrel instead, but I think this is the best build overall for multiplayer. So I put on the AVR T90 comp for horizontal and vertical recoil control at the cost of aim down sight speed and aiming stability. I did not change the length, which is surprising to some people, but you don't need to increase the gun kick control. Trust me, you just don't need to. If you do, feel free to set it at 10 max, but you don't really need to. And recoil stabilization, I point to 0.23 ounces. Now, FTAC M sub 12-inch for the barrel. This is for the bullet velocity, damage range, recoil control, and hip fire accuracy at the cost of aim down sight speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control. I set the damage range to 0.31 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.19 pounds. I put on the LM stockless mod for aim down sight speed, increase, sprint to fire speed increase, movement speed increase, and hip recoil control increase at the cost of aiming recoil control, aiming stability, and flinch resistance. I then put on the Lachmann TCG10 for recoil control at the cost of aiming stability. Set the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.17 inches, and I decreased the weight by negative 0.03 ounces. Not really that noticeable. Last but not least, I put on a 40 round mag. Now here's the end product, and I think you guys will absolutely love it. Super easy to use, and it really basically offsets the stockless mod. Now long range, you're obviously gonna have a hard time. It's gonna be really hard to hit long range shots. Try to avoid the long range shots just because they're not gonna be on point, as you guys see. But short range and medium range are gonna be just fine. Avoid the long range gunfights, you just won't do good with them. Next, we're moving on to the TAC 56. This weapon is still my baby, and I love using it every single day. So this is the build I'm using. You guys can change it up if you guys want to put a muzzle on there. I don't think it's really necessary. I mean, honestly, what's the point of silencers anymore? You can still be heard. Everyone has a headset. So I put on the 17.5 Tundra Pro Barrel for damage range, hipfire accuracy, and bullet velocity at the cost of some aim down sight speed and hip recoil control. I set the damage range to 0.30 inches and the aim walking speed to negative 0.27 pounds. Now, I put on a Schlegger Peck box for aim down sight speed increase, and I actually fixed the aiming out stability a little bit. Because this already helps to aim down sight speed, I just wanted to make sure the aiming stability is on point for this build in particular, because it's actually a pretty good speed build. I set the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.21 ounces, put on the TV Cardinal stock for aim walking speed and sprint speed. I changed the aiming out stability, increased it by 1.86 inches, and the aim down sight speed, I increased it by negative 1.94 ounces. Put on the FSS combat grip for recoil control, and I actually increased the sprint to fire speed by negative 0.20 and the recoil steadiness by 0.71 ounces. Last but not least, I put on the high velocity. You just max out the high velocity if you want to. I mean, you don't really have to. It's already going to do its job. If you want to increase it, I mean, put it around 630 is pretty good. You can max it out all the way if you want to, but this build, fantastic. You're going to get amazing bullet velocity, and you're going to get very little recoil. As you guys see, you still get amazing mobility too, so you're going to be able to strafe with this weapon very easy. It's going to be very easy to get kills, and your shot's going to be on point. So make sure you have this build on there. This is basically the competitive build. If tryhards start sweating, you can absolutely shred with this. And last but not least, this is the fun MP7 speed build that I know you guys are genuinely going to love. So it's actually one of Shotzi's OG builds, and I think that you guys will do really good with it. FSS Sharkfin 90, aiming out stability. This is actually my tunings. So with rank play, you don't get tunings, but this is actually a buffed up MP7. So aiming out stability at 0.25 inches and the recoil stabilization of 0.44 ounces. 30 round mag for movement speed, aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and reload quickness at the cost of some magazine ammo capacity. Not a big deal. You're going to be able to reload incredibly fast. Schlegger Soldier Grip for sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed at the cost of some recoil control. Set the sprint to fire speed to negative 0.28 inches and the recoil steadiness to 0.29 ounces. Last but not least, the Demo RXT stock for crouch movement speed, sprint speed, and aim down sight speed at the cost of some recoil control. Set the aiming out stability at 1.55 inches and the aim down sight speed to negative 2.06 ounces. This thing is incredible, and here's the end result. Check this thing out. Get a little snake going on, as you guys see. Absolutely locks. Now the only downside is long range. You're gonna have a hard time getting those kills just because this thing is gonna be bouncing, but if you burst fire like I just did, you'll do good. So stick to short to medium range, and long range, just try to burst fire.